Oh, that was a tough watch, wasn't it? You guys obviously know that I am talking about Jake Paul against 58-year-old Iron Mike Tyson. It took place through the night last night, UK time, where I am right now, live and free if you have a subscription on Netflix. And thank God it was free, by the way, because that was a shit show. Not only the fight, but the buffering, the constant kicking you out back to the homepage. It did not run smoothly, to say the least. But much like I expected, Iron Mike Tyson was not able to perform anywhere near the level that he was able to perform even 20 years ago when he was past his best and signing out in his career, losing to Kevin McBride. And it was just a sad, sad affair to have to watch that, man. I really, really didn't like it. There were so many moments of concern for me during fight week, but there were small things that, I don't know, maybe I grew up watching too much Rocky, maybe that's what it is, but there were small moments where I was thinking, well, if Mike can do this, and if Father Time can run back the clock one last time, but ultimately, this isn't a musician coming back for one last gig. This was a 58-year-old man who should not be anywhere near a boxing ring, that was getting in with a 27-year-old man who has dedicated the last 7 odd years of his life to boxing. And the worst thing about all of it for me was that Mike Tyson was scared during the event. Like, no one can tell me that Mike Tyson looked confident on that ring walk. You know, age being a factor in the fight or not, Mike Tyson was not confident. He didn't look it on the ring walk. He didn't look it in the changing room. There was a moment that I saw when Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield walked into the changing room, and there was awkward silence there, you know. Mike Tyson said to them, "Tell me something." And what he meant by that was, give me some motivation, give me some inspiration here. And clearly he needed that motivation and needed that inspiration. And I've been in changing rooms about to walk out and do a ring walk for fights, and I understand that that is almost a ritual. People around you will give you that motivation and inspiration. But deep down in me, I'm already confident, and I know, or at least I feel like I know, what I'm going to go out there and do. And I don't really believe that Mike Tyson felt like he was going to be able to get to Jake Paul. And he did try in round one, as I predicted. I predicted that Mike Tyson would put a good effort in for the first 2 rounds, maybe even win 1 or 2 of those rounds before becoming completely exhausted. And I was half right. Listen, I gave every single round in the fight to Jake Paul. I know that many people said that maybe Mike Tyson won round 1 because there was a jab that was landed from Mike Tyson, but he didn't win round 1 for me. There was actually a better right hand landed in that low output round, and that was by Jake Paul. Round 2, Mike Tyson came out. Roy Jones Jr. called it perfectly on the commentary. His feet were gone. His legs were gone. He wasn't able to close off the distance in round 1. He definitely wasn't able to close off the distance at all by round 2. His legs were gone, and at that point, Jake Paul knew he had Mike Tyson exactly where he wanted him, and that was in the palm of his hand, or fist, should I say. The hand speed was way superior, and Mike Tyson was not going to be able to get to him, and it pretty much went that way for the rest of the fight. Mike's feet and lateral movement had gone. He wasn't able to cut off the ring, and the fight just played out exactly how you would expect it. And listen, Mike Tyson may have landed 1 or 2 shots in the fight. I think there was a shot that he landed in round 2. There was definitely a left hook that he landed kind of on the neck or the chin, I'd say, of Jake Paul in round 3, and it got a reaction from the crowd, but that's all it got. It didn't do anything, and many people now are sort of applauding Jake Paul for holding back and not trying to stop an old Mike Tyson, but I've got to be honest, man, I don't think that Jake Paul deserves any plaudits at all here. Did Jake Paul hold back at times, maybe, on Mike Tyson? Yes. Did Jake Paul understand that the public perception of him is already probably at an all-time low just for dragging Mike Tyson out of retirement, and therefore the public perception of him would hit rock bottom if he was to knock out Mike Tyson? Yes. Did Jake Paul understand that knocking out Mike Tyson and having every man and his dog turn on him may actually affect his potential earning power going forward? Yes. And did the little bow of honour at respect at the end of the 8th round maybe make a few people in the public go, oh, do you know what? Jake Paul's not that bad really, is he? Yes. But Jake Paul still hit multiple power shots onto the head of a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, yeah? Did Jake Paul incentivize a 58-year-old Mike Tyson to go through 2 training camps that would have put significant wear and tear on his body, and 2 training camps which, by the way, we know that he sparred in, so he took many more shots than just the shots that he took in that fight last night? Yes, he did. And will Jake Paul one day tell his grandchildren, many years after Mike Tyson is unfortunately no longer with us, that your granddad, he beat Mike Tyson? Yes, he will. And let's revisit this whole thing of the did Jake Paul hold back narrative, because I remember a moment in round 3, right, when Mike Tyson got buzzed in that fight. Jake Paul went on to throw about 6 or 7 power punches in that moment after Mike Tyson got buzzed. Did those power punches take Mike Tyson off his feet? No. Did they rock him, drop him, stop him? I don't know. Did they hurt him? I don't know, right? But the whole holding back narrative is not exactly what people are trying to make out. It is, right? They've said it before and they'll say it again. The last thing to go is your power. Does Mike Tyson have any power right now in 14-ounce gloves any more than your average heavyweight? I wouldn't say he does, no. But there's always that chance you can get caught with something rushing in. So as much as Jake didn't literally empty the clip on him, he didn't need to, because he was winning every single round. And if Jake Paul was down on the scorecards, if Jake Paul had been dropped by Mike Tyson or something like that, then maybe he would have done that. But he could have won those rounds without landing multiple right hands to the head of Mike Tyson. He could have won it on the jab. He knew that his hand speed was far superior. He knew that Mike Tyson's foot speed was literally non-existent in the fight. And Mike Tyson was doing a little bit of lateral movement from side to side, but what we used to see was him do that lateral movement from side to side while cutting off the ring. So whether or not he earned himself an extra 25, 30 million or what, and Mike Tyson may be grateful for that payday, this whole fiasco has been worse for Mike Tyson's health, and I hate to say it, people, but Mike Tyson's lifespan than it has been good. Because some of you might look at it and some of you might go, oh, well, he was smoking and he was doing mushrooms and edibles and he's got himself back in shape. No, you're better off doing all those things than taking blows to the head, and no one is going to tell me any different to that. But either way, all I am happy for about this fight is that Mike Tyson got out of the ring safely as far as we know. Mike Tyson did not get knocked out live on TV for all of us to see at the age of 58 years old. And despite him having a cringy interaction with Logan Paul after the fight, please, dear God, do not drag Mike Tyson back out of retirement into a boxing ring again. And that goes for all retired fighters that have been out the ring for 20, 30 years. Please don't do it. And that begs the question, where does Jake Paul go from here? Because you hear him talk about Canelo, but let's be honest, Jake Paul is never going to fight Canelo. Jake Paul's a very smart man, and being a smart man, he understands up here he's got no chance of ever beating a Saul Canelo Alvarez. I'll go further than that. He's got no chance of ever getting in a ring and not being seriously hurt by a Saul Canelo Alvarez. Size difference or not, I do not care. I know that, you know that, and Jake knows that. But if you want to run with the narrative because it's good for business, I completely understand it. It's fine. It doesn't rile me up. It doesn't rage bait me, you know, but it can rile the public up and whatnot. And it can let the public think that, you know, maybe you're a higher level than you are. But the level you're at, realistically, is for influencer boxing, Jake Paul is one of, if not the best one. That's the level he's at, right? And very good. Congratulations to you, right? And when I say that, I'm on about guys that never had amateur fights. That's what I'm talking about. Didn't have boxing backgrounds. I'm not on about guys like this Misfits tournament that I've come out of, like me and like Yuddy Gang and like Little Cray Cray who won a Golden Gloves and stuff like that. We're a different level to Jake Paul. I'm being completely honest with you, right? I'm on about someone who laced up a pair of boxing gloves for the first time to get in and fight another influencer. For that scene, Jake Paul's the best out of all of them. So he should go and fight KSI. He should go and fight Tommy Fury. Do you know what? If he could get him out of his UFC contract, which would be a hard thing, Conor McGregor. That's one. That's one that I would be very much willing and entertained by. And by the way, I am entertained by Jake Paul fights, you know, but going the route of fighting ex-fighters is not something I want to see. And I'll tell you what, if you are going to do it, how about I set a little challenge here? If you are going to do it, let's shorten the retirement span. Let's not go 20 years retired, 30 years retired. Let's make it under a decade retired. Why don't you get in there and fight Carl Froch? Why don't you get in there and fight Tony Bellew? In fact, stay at the weight you're at right now. Why don't you get in there and fight David Haye, who retired because his body was shot to pieces? Why don't you fight one of those three names that I've just named, and we will see how you get on. Because as improved as you are, and as much as I respect Jake Paul, do not get me wrong here. I respect Jake Paul. Jake Paul has probably had easier ways of earning money in his life than getting into a boxing ring. And you only see what happens on fight night. You don't see the amount of rounds that you spar in the gym, punches you take to the head, money you spend on medical bills, sacrifices you have to make, days you go hungry when you're cutting weight and everything else. And just so much as every professional, legit world champion does that, Jake Paul does that. Not only does he do that, he lines the pockets of professional fighters. Look at Amanda Serrano last night. No one can tell me that her career trajectory wouldn't have gone the way it has if it wasn't for the help of MVP and of Jake Paul. So Jake Paul has done very, very good things for boxing. But the cat is now out the bag, okay? We know the level where Jake Paul is at. And that level is that, I've said it once, I'll say it again, I do not believe that Jake Paul is good enough to win a Southern Area Cruiserweight title, in the UK, okay? I remember Woody Camacho and Isaac Chamberlain fighting for a Southern Area Cruiserweight title. Jake Paul would not win that. Jake Paul would not win that. Because as much as it's no disgrace, that is your level. And we've now found that out. Okay? So don't bring any more fighters the age of Mike Tyson out of retirement. Don't make a Mike Tyson against Logan Paul fight. Don't do any of that. Go in. There are options for you. Tommy Fury, KSI, fight your brother Logan. Get Conor McGregor somehow. I don't even have a problem with the likes of fighting Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal and guys like this. I've got no problem with that. But let's lower the age of retirement and let's lower the age of the man in front of you in a ring with you. Either way, I've rambled on a lot here, so you lot let me know your thoughts on last night's fight and let me know what you would like to see next for both fighters, if you want to call them that. Iron Mike Tyson, 58 years old, remember, and ex-influencer, now professional boxer, 27-year-old Jake Paul. I want to make it very, very clear, by the way, I've got no problem here with influencer boxing. I box on Misfits myself, so it's very much a case of don't bite the hand that feeds you. I just don't want to see this whole fiasco happen again. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you all in the next one.